I was super nervous to upload this, but I feel like I'm going to get asked a lot as to why I'm not playing DBD. I'm quitting Dead by Daylight temporarily was a tweet I'd been recommended, and I can't help but ask the question as to why so many DBD content creators are quitting Dead by Daylight, taking a break. I'll be honest, I watched a bit of this video. It is very well put together, and I kind of want to cover this with you guys to highlight and showcase how some DBD content creators may be feeling right now.
I never thought that I would make this video. I feel like I'm going to get asked a lot on stream as to why I'm taking a break from Dead by Daylight, and it honestly is a very sad topic for me because I love this game, and having to take a break from it is really, really sad for me. Dead by Daylight has given me absolutely everything, and I am so grateful for the game, but right now, I just need a break. Starting off with number 1, I know possibly everything there is to know about Dead by Daylight. And I don't mean to sound cocky when I say that. I know possibly everything there is to know. Even when it comes to my recent YouTube series that I've been doing, getting good at all of the killers in Dead by Daylight since I've been a Survivor main for so long. Majority of the things that I have been taught in both of those videos, I knew already. And possibly with every single other killer in the list, I know it. And basically that series just me knowing those things and actually applying them in games. And learning things is fun for me. That's why I loved Dead by Daylight and the little things that you could do.
Dead by Daylight's main core demographic is a very dedicated player base who has thousands of hours playing their game, and the developers know this. They've covered this in a previous Q&A in the past. The people that play their game and are dedicated to it are people who have thousands of hours and play non-stop. And when it comes to the changes that this game gets, will be in accordance to their target demographic. Well, there's a problem with that. Precisely with her next point.
The little things that you could do. And that brings me to my second point. Skill expression within the game is being removed slowly but surely. Things that were removed from the game being light burning, meaning burning artist crows, burning hag traps, wraith, and nurse. With artist being an anti-loop killer, it felt like one of the only things that you could do was light burn her crows or have someone chase you with a flashlight to get rid of those crows, and that's just not possible anymore. With artist, it may be a good thing because she is a little bit difficult to play, but even still, it was a fun little interaction that survivors could learn to do in-game, and majority of people didn't know that you could do that. Same with hag. Majority of people didn't know that you could burn her traps, and then if you did learn that you could burn her traps, what were the likelihood that so many flashlights would be in a lobby? If you saw that many flashlights, you could dodge, or as hag, you can run Franklin's, for example. She has more counter ability now than she did when flashlights could light burn her traps. Before, you had to have a flashlight and couldn't get rid of hag traps at all. But now, absolutely anyone can remove a hag trap. Nurse, it was insanely hard to light burn. So it was a really fun type of skill expression that you could do against the most powerful killer in the game. And with Wraith, light burning Wraith was one of my favorite things that you could do in the game. You could get behind stuff as Wraith encountered the light burn, and survivors probably would just waste their flashlight on you burning the Wraith anyway. Now there's no reason to do that. It's something that I miss with Dead by Daylight because majority of people didn't even know that you could do those things. And that leads me into locker saves. Probably a good thing that they're removed, but it was a fun little thing that not a lot of people knew that you could do. And learning the timing on it was kind of hard. I barely ever did it myself, but it was uncounterable, and I get it. But even still, it was something fun within the game that you could do. Also, that leads me into flashlight timing being removed. I can't tell you how many times I've played killer, and I know for a fact that I would not have gotten flashlight saved or flashbang saved pre-flashlight timing change. Now it's like flashlights are a right place, right time thing rather than a skillfully used item. Maybe it's a good thing because the ping thing. I know that's probably the reason that they changed it, but even still, kind of miss it sometimes. Another one is Sky Billy. I can't tell you how much I miss Sky Billy. So much. I only ever got to go against one, and It was one of the most fun games of Dead by Daylight, and I'll never forget my first Skybilly. It was something that rarely ever gave you any type of competitive advantage in the game. It was just something fun. And it was kind of funny to get sniped from the top of a building sometimes, being able to have a giggle. Very recently, Chucky Flicks got removed very, very quickly. And I know it was probably something that was only able to be done on a PC, but even still, it made playing Chucky fun. With the flicks being gone, you basically only go against Chuckies that will scamper under a pallet and get a free hit on you. As I'm speaking, the Dead by Daylight PTB for the blight changes has been postponed. It was supposed to be today, but it got postponed. But the blight changes. As unfun as it is to get hug teched by a blight, you can't deny that it does take some form of skill expression to be able to do it. I suck at it. But it can be argued that it's pretty easy to do. I can do it sometimes, but it makes going against blight a little bit fun, in my personal opinion. And it makes him fun to play. So that being removed, it kind of hurts. And with what they're doing to blight, gives us an insight as to what is coming. Hug teching Wesker is going to be removed at some point. 180ing as Oni, I'm an Oni main, is going to be removed at some point. And those are some of the most fun games that I have right now in Dead by Daylight, and them being removed. Not to mention that they keep adding invisible walls to stuff all of the time for whatever reason. Sniping as twins has become increasingly hard to do because of the invisible walls. Even demo. You can't fly off of buildings anymore because the invisible wall right there. How long is this video so far? 13 minutes. Okay, that ain't that bad.
Oh my god. She's done her research. All of these different techs. We have to think about the Dead by Daylight target demographic. Who are the players that we're trying to please that play our game?
One of the main goals is to explore new ways that we can keep the player experience in Dead by Daylight fresh and fun for both new players entering our universe and for our highly engaged expert players with hundreds or even thousands of hours in the game.
Feels like the fun is being sucked out of the game.
People who have played our game for a long time with thousands of hours. Like, we have this hug tech, flashlight blinds, making it a little too easy, getting rid of Lightburn, getting rid of the crows, possibly getting rid of Oni Flicks, Skybilly, Spacebilly. All these things are little intricate features that were removed. When people have thousands of hours in the game, it almost feels like that these little intricacies were techniques that players could look forward to learning over time. And it seems like behavior is removing everything related to high skill play in order to make things more fair and balanced for a casual player who doesn't know what's going on. But when it comes to the elimination of these techs, we forget that we're removing the reason for players to play our game in the long term, a technique, a skill, a new way to play in the future. You see that the more we remove all the different ways a player can express skill within our video game, the less of a reason players have to play the game in the long term. Yes, some of these things may feel unfair for a new casual player, but how long are those players going to remain new in the first place? They're going to stay, and then they're just going to know how to do everything, like Slushie here. You see, gameplay loop is played on a heartbeat, where players have their high games, their low games, learning different techs to counter the opponent. Think of a patient with a heart monitor with a heartbeat. It has their ups, their downs, their mids, their lows. This is the natural heartbeat of how a human life functions and works. But just like how a human heartbeat monitor has life, is when we have a flat line. This is when there is no heartbeat, and there are no highs, there are no lows, there is just a slow, steady hum. Without life. When we start removing intricate techniques, we start moving towards the flat line, where a patient has no heartbeat and they're dead in the water, slashing all the reasons for people to play our game long term and making the game feel the same for everyone, minimizing match experience variability. But let's go on.
And my next point is the balancing with DBD as a whole. It's an asymmetrical game. It's really, really hard to balance a asymmetrical game. In my personal opinion, the most fun that I had in Dead by Daylight was when there was no balance being thought about at all. Of course, some things probably needed to go, like Eruption, Decisive when you could do gens, Starstruck double range nurse, things of that nature. But even still, I miss the game before MMR got introduced. Because right now, with the way that games go, it feels like who has the stronger gen perks. And then inevitably you get killers proxy camping hooks because the anti-camp barely does anything, and survivors running the gen speed perks that they can. Right now it feels like a whole lot of one-sided games because of that. Either all of the survivors escape or the killer gets a 4K, and there's absolutely no in-between. I hardly ever get very close, intriguing games anymore. Like I said, I would rather play a very unbalanced, fun DBD than the DBD that we have right now that has so many issues.
Behavior's reasoning for matchmaking changes like this is to make the solo queue experience better, make it so that baby killers don't go against unfair matchups. So in reality, DBD's skill-based matchmaking is to make it so that every match feels balanced and linear. People go against opponents of their same skill level. Where in the situation now, it's either get blown out of the water or blow the survivors out of the water. Where killing too fast doesn't feel fun, or getting destroyed too fast isn't fun. The hyper-optimization of the community in combination with the skill-based matchmaking makes games feel unfun overall. With a bit of matchmaking variability and chaos, there is more of a heartbeat like the old pre-MMR system. And yes, I know some of you guys will say, that's unfair to new people, that's unfair to new killers, they're going to get destroyed by different players all the time. We have to keep in mind that we want our gameplay loop to be a heartbeat, not just a linear flow. For new players, or solo queue players in specific, yes, they may get bad games here and there, yes, they may get destroyed, but it won't be all the time. There will be a sense of variability, as the current system in place, along with behavior's decision-making, is brinting off the fun of the game, the variability of games feeling different, and this skill-based matchmaking stagnation pattern that we're going upon.
And my next point is reworks and priorities. If we're going to continue on this road of making Dead by Daylight a balanced asymmetrical game, then there are a lot of things that go untouched and a lot of things that get touched that didn't need to be touched. If Dead by Daylight's going to be unbalanced, make it unbalanced. If it's going to be balanced, make it balanced. And put your priorities where they need to be. Made for This went untouched for however long it went untouched for. For the People Buckle Up is still in the game. Eruption got untouched for I don't know how long. Myers hasn't been touched since his release, basically. He can make a 3v1 very, very quickly, or he gets absolutely stomped because he's not running Tombstone. Trapper has needed so many buffs for so long, and he gets these very minuscule buffs. Freddy is one of the weakest killers in the game. Even though his kill rate is high, they think he's fine. But no, he's not. The Knight is both unfun to play as and against. Onryo still stomps solo queue survivors. Not even to mention that 3 Jennings Skull Merchant was in the game for so long that is what broke me from wanting to play Dead by Daylight as a whole, and ever since 3 Jennings Skull Merchant,
Jesus.
I have forced myself to play the game. And even still, she has the highest kill rate in the game because she is that unfun to go against. And I fear that no matter what they do to her, nothing is ever going to be good enough. And like I said, I can go on and on and on about this. I have Blight wrote down, I have Trickster wrote down, I have Huntress wrote down, I have Clown wrote down, and there are a lot of things. And that's just killers. I could go into the survivor stuff too. Don't worry, I'm not just one-sided about this. It's just what's on my brain right now.
I believe behavior is touching things that don't need to be touched because they don't know what to do. They don't understand why people feel like quitting. So what they're trying to do is introduce a bit of chaos. I covered this quite a bit, where they believe, maybe people are just bored of our game and they just want something different. So by changing different characters that don't quite need to be touched, they're trying to veer off this feeling of stagnation that some players feel. But like you said, they have to commit to being either balanced or unbalanced. I believe you probably have an unbalanced skew since you want all the techs. but I genuinely believe that behavior does not understand what they want from their game. Or there might be some arguments internally about which direction the game should be going. With behavior implementing the April Fool's My Little Oni game mode, people loved it. And behavior may take that as the community wanting to see more chaos, but I don't believe that's the core reason. My Little Oni was super casual. There was no pressure to try to win. It was just about running around having a bit of fun against a giant killer. A casual, unbalanced gameplay experience where winning and losing didn't really matter. And I fear that behavior may make a second game mode, doing more chaos and abandon their main one. Behavior, I believe that a lot of your community wants an unbalanced main DBD game mode. With all the crazy techs, no skill-based matchmaking, just a bunch of chaos and good old casual fun like My Little Oni. The majority of your player base are 1,000-hour veterans, and that should be your target demographic. Every player has probably seen the ins and outs of all the intricacies of different killers and survivors. That stagnation is finally taking over. And by slashing techs, trying to make an asymmetric game overly balanced is causing a bit of stagnation. Yes, solo queue, new players, new killers may suffer for a couple games here and there, but at least there's a heartbeat in an unbalanced version of Dead by Daylight that your target demographic community misses so much, particularly with a main game mode. I believe behavior is treating their main game mode like the rank-based matchmaking game mode you're all asking for. And a lot of you guys are probably confused as to why they're not adding a rank-based mode. And once they design another casual mode, it's likely everyone will just play casual side mode instead. And the main ranked mode will die down a bit. I don't want behavior to do that. Because obviously what people crave is that sense of variety and player improvement progression rather than stagnation.
That I feel like is underlooked a lot of time by the Dead by Daylight team is the community. I genuinely think without streamers, Dead by Daylight would not be as successful as it is. I believe that streamers are the backbone of this game, and a lot of us aren't shown the recognition that we deserve. I personally don't care if I never ever get Twitch shirts, but there are so many creators within the Dead by Daylight community that absolutely deserve Twitch shirts. I may not deserve them, and that's completely fine, but there are so many that do. And it feels like we only get a Twitch shirt drop every, 3 months or so. There's no definitive way to get these shirts without just luck. There's no way to apply for them. There's nothing. The Fog Whisperer program has been relatively untouched for quite a while as well. With Dead by Daylight being as small of a community as it is, in retrospect to games like Valorant, Call of Duty, Fortnite, etc., creators do need some recognition for playing the game, and I just feel like it's unseen.
She's completely right. I'll speak from my experience, is that a lot of the Twitch shirts and Fog Whisperer program seem to be more about a BHVR employee's favorite streamer to watch, and possibly even streamers that are considered safe and corporate friendly, but not necessarily the streamers who contribute the most to the game. The focus is mainly put on the identity of who a person is, but not necessarily the type of work and effort that is put into trying to create content for the game, I feel. Where she is kind of exactly right, and I don't really care for myself to have Twitch shirts or if I am ever a Fog Whisperer. That's not my main intent. I just want this game to do well, and I want to try to do my best to contribute to the health and success of the DBD community, or the success of DBD as a whole, because I like making content for this game. But you can't deny the fact that there are a lot of people out there who put a tremendous amount of work and effort into projects to trying to share the Dead by Daylight word and interest of the game. And there is a complete lack of recognition and care for particular creators who are just trying to act in the best interest of trying to make sure the Dead by Daylight community is happy.
And I'm using this as a segue, but Anon mode remains untouched. More oftentimes than not, Anon mode is used maliciously rather than someone who actually needs to use Anon mode. I personally don't even use Anon mode for myself. And I know a lot of other streamers who don't use an on mode. In my own personal opinion, a non-mode needs to be something like Valorant's, for example. And I say that because I'm playing Valorant currently. But a non-mode in Valorant, you don't see anyone's name until the game is over. For example, if a killer was running a non-mode, they would have a non-mode up until the last survivor was either dead or everyone escaped. And then the name gets revealed. I think a lot of people would not play as maliciously if that were a thing. And if you are worried about your profile or whatever, make it private. Why do you have a public profile if you're worried about something like that?
I feel like a lot of people use anonymous mode as a way to deface individuality. I think what she may be referring to is the possibility that anonymous mode is being used by subtle cheaters so that people can't really see their profile. When people use auto dead hard or subtle speed hacking, anonymous mode is a way for certain players to remain more under the radar. Maybe there's some individuals who use anonymous mode as a way to treat more people more inappropriately or rudely, but I don't really know on that front, to be honest. But her version of anonymous mode would be interesting. It might be alright.
Brings me to my next point, the Dead by Daylight community as a whole. Currently, there is a lot of salt farming happening, which that happens with absolutely every game. It's whatever. But the way that Dead by Daylight goes about it is a little bit different, because it brings cancel culture into it. And it punishes you for doing basic talking within the game. You can call the killer a bitch or whatever, and then for some reason, the streamer who called the killer a bitch is being cancelled. In every single other PvP game ever, talking is normal and widely accepted. But for some reason with Dead by Daylight, you call a killer a bitch or you call a survivor a bitch, you're going on Twitter, buddy. You're getting cancelled. Dead by Daylight players are sensitive. You can salt farm all you want.
She's completely
because
right.
Salt farming is kind of funny. I will admit it. But where it's gone too far is the cancel culture that comes along with it. And my final thoughts.
I think individually, you can't really control how other people react. But I think it is part of like human nature for people to have like a good side and a bad side to them. One day someone may have a good day, and then next day they may have a bad day. If someone feels like talking smack, it's like, oh, maybe they got yelled at work or something. And they're just using the video game as a coping mechanism to wind down from like everyday life stresses. When it comes to cancel culture, it's kind of like highlighting the fact that someone may be stressed out, having a bad day. I'm going to cancel this person because that was a day my boss yelled at me because I messed up. It's like, damn, that sucks. We're all human beings, and it's within our human nature to have our good days and bad days, and that's okay. When this type of culture goes around, it may make some people scared to just even express themselves or interact. It may make people scared to even play their game and be their authentic self. If someone kind of talks or talks smack, then okay, you can report it and maybe get a player banned. But when we're trying to cancel every other person, it's gotten to the point where someone tried to cancel me because I walked in front of their flashlight or something. This guy, if he starts chasing us and we run away from the door, right? Both of us are getting f***ed. It goes from a 1K to a 3K. It's getting ridiculous. This phenomena of oversensitivity is by far not an understatement. And it seems to be getting stronger and stronger as time goes on. I don't really think that this is exclusive to Dead by Daylight. I think this is a worldwide phenomena across all gaming. That is why I made that video related to the infantilization of Dead by Daylight. Because for goodness sake, if I make a slight gameplay mistake, people will try to cancel me on Twitter. Or, oh, you missed your dead hard timing. You jumped off the building. You walked in front of my flashlight. It's a video game. Relax.
And my final thoughts. I have no idea how long this break is going to be. I don't know if my break is going to be a week. I don't know if it's going to be 2 weeks. I don't know if it's going to be a month. I don't know if it'll be until anniversary, or I don't know if it's gonna be forever. I can say, however, that I will absolutely come back to Dead by Daylight for chapter releases and events that are happening within the game, because I do love Dead by Daylight. Dead by Daylight has given me absolutely everything. At this point, I'm not sure if I said that at the beginning of this video or not, so I'm just going to re-say it. I would not be where I am currently with the platform that I have and the community that I have without Dead by Daylight, and I am eternally grateful for Behavior for creating a game that gave me absolutely everything and gave me my dream. But I do think it's time that I take a break from the game just for my own mental health. And yeah, it's kind of sad. And I've already cried over this exact topic, so I won't cry about it anymore. But yeah, I love you, Dead by Daylight, and I always will. Thank you for listening to me if you made it this far into the video, and I hope to have you while I'm playing other games. But for now, I'll see you next time, cuties, and thank you for listening to me.
So why exactly are so many content creators quitting Dead by Daylight? Slushie's argument has been extremely well put together. It's because a lot of us have a great love for the game. We want to see the game do well. A lot of people just want the game to succeed. Although Behavior may be making some of the best updates the game has ever seen recently, with the All Things Wicked chapter, My Little Oni, the Blood Moon event, Behavior is doing outstanding with their content drops. And that may be just it. She mentioned she's definitely going to be coming back for like chapters and updates and the new types of killers. But what about just playing the game casually? Or like playing the game like on and off here and there? I think the problem is not the content drops the game gets, but the foundation upon which Dead by Daylight sits upon. Are we a casual game? Are we a competitive game? Are we balanced? Are we unbalanced? Why does a balanced skill-based matchmaking system make things not feel fun? Is it because of a sense of stagnation? Does our game have a heartbeat? Why are we removing all these different texts that give veterans, our core demographic, a reason to play our game in the long run? Why are those getting removed? Are our decisions making the game less fun to play? Ultimately, I love Dead by Daylight. I love playing Huntress. I'm a Huntress main. I play this game a lot. I love making content. I like making stories for you guys. This game is amazing. I don't think there's any other game that I've ever played that has this type of FPS level experience for a Huntress player like myself. But honest to God, I just want to do everything I possibly can to try to help the developers make their game better. I want their game to succeed. I want their community to be happy. And a lot of the reason why I make these talking videos, reaction videos, talking about problems in the game is not because I want to dogpile in the game and just express negativity. I genuinely, honestly want the developers to do well. And the only way to do that is to try to show them the reasons as to why people feel a certain way, what people are thinking, how the community is trying to contribute to trying to make the game better. I absolutely love this game, but that's why we need to cover these types of problems. I personally won't be quitting DBD. Matter of fact, I'm going to be writing scripts and creating stories and crazy engaging videos more for you guys. But it would be completely irresponsible and a disservice to the community if I didn't cover the reasons as to why some people are upset. I want this game to do better, and I want the community to be happy. And maybe that is something that's almost impossible to do, but I feel like it's my duty and my responsibility with the platform I have to at least try. This video is mainly for the game developers as a message, as a means to talk to them so that they can understand their player base more intimately. I just want to help out. I don't hate Behavior. I don't hate Dead by Daylight. I like what Behavior is doing. I love their updates. I love their game. And yeah, I just wanted to make that clear before the closing of this video. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. And let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I'll put Slushie's YouTube channel in the description if you guys would like to subscribe and check her out. So hope you guys enjoyed it, and peace.